Hello, in this video I'm going to showcase you a team that I used on my stream in the Open Ultra League. I had 12 wins in 15 battles. It is a very simple team. The team is Steel Double Dragon, Corviknight, Guillotine Altered, and Guzzlord. I have payback on my Corviknight for the mirror matchup because Guzzlord and Giratina are a little bit so-so there, especially if the opposing Corviknight has payback. I do think there's room for Ironhead as well, but you do become weaker into opposing Corviknight. You would become better into opposing fairies. Giratina Altered is the Pokemon that you're supposed to swap out at some point or swap in at some point, bait out the ice slash fairy type Pokemon, and then your Guzzlord can sweep. The thing with Giratina is I'd love to have Ancient Power for a potential Togekiss bait out. However, Shadow Sneak is kind of required for opposing Steel-type Pokemon, such as the Corviknight. And then I think that Guzzlord can function maybe better with Brutal Swing instead of Crunch, but I like the charge TMs. Crunch still very powerful, comes out very quickly with Dragon Tail generating faster energy now. So that's the team. Guzzlord is a really good core breaker as long as you can get rid of the Fairy-type Pokemon. One last thing, if you face a Sucker Punch Belly Bolt, still swapping Giratina, go for a Shadow Sneak before they can buff their defense. The Zero Shield is actually not that bad at all. In the first battle, I lead into the mirror. This is where payback is really nice. If my opponent stays in, kind of expect the same from them. Now, a Corviknight lead should hardly ever have a fairy type in the back. If it is a Tapu Fini, they're hard ABA to something like a Belly Bolt. If they have like a Florges or Clefable or Galarian Weezing, they are very weak to something like a Talonflame lead or Skeledirge. So my dragons feel pretty safe here. I'm gonna stay in for a little bit. At some point, I kind of do want to switch out just because it's like early ranks here. And it is possible my opponent, for some reason, runs a Togekiss in the back as well. So I'm going to go for the payback here. I'm not sure if an air cutter after will knock out. I don't think it does yet from here, so I need to payback to win switch. My opponent swaps into the Belly Bolt. I'm going to go for a payback, which is a waste, because I actually should have gone into the Guzzlord immediately here. Guzzlord resists the entire moveset of Belly Bolt, but this matchup can be deceiving in the two shields and if they want to forces. So throwing the payback was not exactly a terrible play anyway. Dragon Claw does more damage than Crunch. So it's gonna chunk here if they no shield that, and they're already in a pretty hopeless position with that Belly Bolt, so I didn't expect them to. That Corviknight was in crunch range, and I get the farm down here, which will allow me to throw a crunch if Corviknight comes in. I win Charge Attack Purity Tie, so now if this crunch knocks out, I basically have 3 Pokemon. I don't have energy on my Corviknight though. There's a Kommo in the back, which is kind of tough for me, but here's the thing. Kommo now has upper hand, and usually clanging skills. Clanging skills lowers the defense of the user. So that means that my attacks will do more damage. I'm going to shield this attack. Luckily, they don't bait an upper hand, because that would not have been a great shield. I throw an alignment here. Never do 3 Shadow Claw for 2 Dragon Tail, because they sneak an entire Dragon Tail through. Rare sighting on my videos or streams, but yes, I also have made that mistake before. Because they double debuff themselves now, I'm confident letting that go. They are double defense drop. They have no Pokemon left to remove this. And since shields are also down, I can just land this Dragon Claw. Even a Crunch would have done the job anyway after triple debuff. And this should seal the deal. Good game. You can also honestly use Kommo instead of Guzzlord in this team, now that I think of it. Now, this is an awkward lead. Pidgeot. Why is this awkward? I'm a Steel type, I resist everything. Yes, but they double resist my Scent attack. Luckily, my opponent is running Wing attack. You need Gust on your Pidgeot. Aircut is not going to do a whole lot here, but I just don't want my Giratina on this. Now, with this Pokemon, it kind of is possible that there's a Fairy type in the back. They actually throw a Brave Bird, which I find crazy. I should probably go for a payback here, but I just want the damage in so badly after they're triple debuffed. I would not like it if they swap out with all that health, so I'm just gonna go for another one here to let it go. That's very fine with me. Then I probably want to swap out to bait out a potential Fairy type Pokemon. Let's see what they come in with. They come in with a Jellicent, and I swap into Guzzlord. Maybe not the best idea here. Guzzlord is hardly ever a safe switch, to be honest. So, but you know, swapping in the Giratina into Jellicent is also kind of iffy. Anyway, in the back is a Venusaur. This should be a GG's. This has no play into my team at all. two of my Pokemon, Corviknight and Giratina Altered, to resist the entire moveset of Venusaur. And then Guzzlord resists Frenzy Plant. My opponent even has Sludge Bomb. Venusaur now has Sludge, which only takes 5 Vine Whip to get to. Fortunately, Vine Whip nowadays is a little bit behind other fast attacks, so it makes the Venusaur a little bit lackluster. If this is a serve, it won't even knock out yet. I might be able to get to another attack. I'm not. But I still have Gus, and Gus is at 50 HP, and Guzzlord's typing can be just its best strength, but it can also be its best weakness. Because if you are into a fairy type Pokemon, you instant lose without Sludge Bomb, and I'm not running Sludge Bomb because I hecking love taking the risks. But these kind of matchups is where you resist everything, so that's kind of cool. I'm gonna catch this Surf here. Surf probably wouldn't have even knocked out my Guzzlord, but I think at this point my opponent is just desperate to even see my third Pokemon. There it is, good game. The next lead we have is a Guzzlord lead. Guzzlords, so I generally don't like Guzzlord per se versus Corviknight, and the reason is because Corviknight has to throw a lot of Air Cutter here, and every Air Cutter they throw is a chance to boost, and a boosted Corviknight is no fun to deal with if you don't have something to resist the attacks. What Guzzlord does really well here, Guzzlord in Ultra League has about 340 HP, a lot. Scent Attack, not the same type of attack bonus from Corviknight, does almost no damage to anything, even when super effective sometimes. So imagine that your Scent Attack does 2, if you're unlucky, maybe even 1, I don't know, against Guzzlord in Ultra League. You can imagine you need a lot of Scent Attacks to actually add up here. So you can see that this matchup is getting really close because the Scent Attacks, they don't add up. Well, maybe they now do after some boosts, but generally Guzzlord doesn't do terrible here. And because I get that boost, is actually quite convenient for me. My opponent would have to shield here if they want to win this lead matchup, and they're not going to shield twice. So I win the 1 versus 2. I swap in my Giratina. In the back is a Nidoqueen with Mudslap nowadays. That Togekiss is an issue. You'd think that I had this battle. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't right now. Kind of depends on what the Togekiss has as well. If I had Sludge Bomb on my Guzzlord, this would have been an easy game. I didn't think my opponent would bait there. Maybe it was kind of obvious with the 2 shields up, but that's why I also thought, well, maybe it's not that obvious, especially if that Togekiss has like Aura Sphere and Psy Shock. Earth Power definitely would do the most damage. This is double Poison Fang. Normally not a problem, but now the packs are going to add up, and they actually do have Psy Shock. It's only 5 pack to get to that attack, so this Togekiss is just a flying speedball here. Shadow Sneak coming through, but it's kind of where you prefer Ancient Power. As you can see, it doesn't do a lot. I'm down a shield here. This Pokemon is going to end my backline, unfortunately. I mean, I think if I no-shield that first Poison Fang, I actually may not have been in that terrible of a spot here, but since I did, it's actually not looking great because this Togekiss is going to go for the Aura Sphere. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, it was this. Bro, you run Aura Sphere. I don't know who the heck runs Aura Sphere. Sorry, Psyshock Dazzling Gleam. That is a good surprise. Well played, opponent. Not what I thought they would run. And not that it mattered anyway. I would have lost it regardless. In our next battle, we have a pretty bad lead here. Now, I did mention before that there was a spread on Corviknight that has a Scent Attack breakpoint, and then you can win this matchup on all even shields if you get like a bait, even if they have Torch Song. But I didn't want to do that, so I was going to swap out, maybe gather energy elsewhere. I do like to let Shadow Sneak go. I also have a team where I kind of need to bait out a potential Fairy type. This tells me that they're not very confident into Giratina because they had to throw that Shadow Ball first and take so much chip damage. I'm actually going to shield this. I want to preserve this Giratina right here. Skeledirge in Ultra League usually runs Torch Song and Shadow Ball, so I don't expect Disarming Voice for my Guzzlord. I don't think my Guzzlord is going to need many shields at this point. Hydro Cannon comes through. I'm hoping they switch, but they don't, so now I have to throw another Air Cut because it just does no damage. If they shield this, they can knock out my Corviknight as well, which would not be pleasant. And they actually do shield. Yeah, maybe if I threw it a little bit earlier, I think I would have seen Pete then on the Hydro Cannon. Maybe it doesn't matter. I'm gonna farm this down with one of my dragons. Need to be careful of a Shadow Ball on the Giratina though. So he goes into Skeletor, and I swear to God, if we first see a Psyshock Dazzling Gleam Togekiss, and then a Disarming Voice, Shadow Ball, Skeledirge. What do you know? They actually do have it. Do I still have a chance here? In the back is... Come on, review yourself. They cannot be strong to Giratina, right? Otherwise, they would bring that in. In the back is a Verizon. Yes, that is the official pronunciation. I know. I'm not on the clock, but I like to keep it in my head in case I am actually commentating somewhere. Anyway, this Pokemon sucks against Giratina. It is not good there at all. And my Guzzlord was not going to be good either in the back. They don't even have Stone Edge, making this incredibly good for me because they need 3 charge stacks to get there. I still have some energy on my Guzzlord as well, which I can tell you, I remember from my stream that I actually forgot I had an attack, but that doesn't matter. This still won't knock out. I can still take some double kick. They need the whole Leaf Blade. This Dragon Claw is going to chunk. It does a lot of damage nowadays. Feraligatr is still around. It can only get a few Shadow Claws in. Doesn't even get a knockout on me. Now I swap into Guzzlord. And as you can see, I tapped it too late. I actually forgot. I don't think they would have won anyway, because a Shadow Claw would have knocked them out too. Good game. This is one of the most common Pokemon in the Ultra League currently. Metal Sound on Empoleon is super good because you only need 5 fast stacks to get to a Hydro Cannon. This doesn't... So what I thought here is that it cores well with Togekiss, but Togekiss plus Empoleon gets annihilated by Belly Bolt. It's still possible though. So I'm going to catch this attack on Giratina. If there's a Togekiss, I want to try and bait it out. Let's see what my opponent's going to do after this. This is a Hydro Cannon catch on the Giratina. Plus I got my Shadow Sneak through, so it's nice. They bring in Hippowdon. At this point, I'm like, either they're very weak to Giratina, or they're just trying to get rid of a Pokemon that is not great into Corviknight. Corviknight still has a lot of energy as well, keep that in mind. That payback could be very useful if there's a ghost in the back as well. Empoleon generally is quite a difficult Pokemon to deal with, but all 3 of our Pokemon kind of outbulk it. Gonna go for a Dragon Claw. This will almost knock out the Hippowdon. Not just yet though. Gonna go for a catch attempt and then CMP with it, which is kind of a dummy attack move, but because otherwise I could have farmed it down, but it's fine, I guess. If I can get a boost now, maybe that'll help with the payback into the Empoleon. Flying in Dark is hardly resisted by anything, so like I'm pretty happy with the energy either way. No boost though. Payback coming through. If they shield this, it actually gets quite dicey because they have a lot of health, and as you can see, super effective. Sand attack does like no damage. I'm gonna let it go still. Like I said, my Pokemon kind of outbulked this, so I'm just still gonna bring in the Guzzlord, even though Dragon Tail's resisted. This Empoleon is almost into crunch range. I'm gonna shield up this Drill Peck. Do keep in mind, Empoleon can learn Blizzards. I haven't encountered one of those, but they are around. I can assure you that. Crunch doesn't knock out just yet. I'll eat a Drill Peck. And then it really comes down to what's in the bag. If it's anything with an elemental typing, my Guzzlord's looking really good here. I'm gonna find out now. In the back is an Annihilate. Not great, but we still have Giratina. And Giratina cannot be counted down that easily. Dragon Claw, lots of damage. At this point, since they no-shielded that, if I throw an attack here, I lose a Shadow Claw. So I'm not even gonna throw an attack. I think I can finish this off with fast stacks. They boost up there, that's fine. Shadow Claws are adding up. I think I just need maybe two Dragon Tail. Of course, Dragon Tail does less damage now. I would say previous Dragon Tail would have knocked this out. He's double boosted. He actually lives that. I'm barely able to Dragon Tail down. So yeah, a little bit iffy there. Unfortunately, I dropped a lot of frames during that stream, so I don't really have footage of other battles that are not skipping ahead or being very laggy. But the team is quite simple, Steel Double Dragon, and it worked quite well for me. I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next one.